What is happening, guys, on this Friday night? How you doing? It's a perfect little theme you got going on there, Josh.
It's Friday.
It is Friday.
It is.
Didn't even realize it was Friday. I don't even know what fucking day it is half the time now.
It's because they're all fucking running together, man. Like, screwed. Jesus. It's like a series of naps, man. That's all it is.
Let's get right into it because I thought, while I'm drinking my blood over here, and
what are you drinking?
It's wine. Oh. It's wine. I've had the longest day, but Kane, welcome, man.
Yes.
Welcome to G Crew. We're so happy to have you on. It's crazy in the world right now. I mean, we're so isolated. This is the only way we can talk right now. Besides,
I know, and I appreciate you asking me to be on, and I haven't done too much with the porn stash look. I've been pretty bored at home, so both my sons and all my nephews have done the same mustache. So
nice.
So we should have shaved before we came on, Johnny and I. We should have just kept it.
That would have been great.
But man, it's been so long since I talked to you. Last time I saw you, I was in Salem, Massachusetts. This is the funniest story. I got to tell these guys this one. So first off, I had no clue that you were in Salem. I was there working on a project, and I saw that there was this huge line out front of this building. I forget what building it was in Salem, Massachusetts. I'm like, oh, who's here? And I see Kane's picture up on the poster. He's like one of the guests there. I was like, oh man, I haven't seen him forever. I'm gonna stop and try to say hi to him and say what's up. And I didn't see him. There was such a big crowd. I'm like, oh, he must be somewhere at the end of it. I'm just gonna go through this whole entire thing. And I think they had everything set up from Friday the 13th and all, like this really cool like big stand-up posters and all these really cool artifacts, like just really cool stuff, right, from the film. And I'm walking through and it's really creepy. And all I hear halfway through it is cha cha cha. I hear it come from behind me. I'm like, what the heck? And I'm in darkness, and I hear it getting closer and closer. And I turn around. As I turn around, Kane's face is literally right here. That's right. He's like, good to see you. Like, how did you even spot me? And then he just kept walking. And then I was like, oh.
When I first met him, I went down to Kentucky to a convention, and I thought, I got to buy a machete. I have to buy a machete and have Kane sign it. It's just the typical. So I'm at Walmart, and there's a group of like 5 of us, and we're in the camping section looking for machetes. And a worker, and it's probably, we rolled into Kentucky at like probably 2 a.m, and a worker comes up and he looks at us and he looks at the machetes. Oh, dear Lord, y'all are going to kill somebody in the woods, aren't you?
Was that in Lexington or Louisville?
Lexington.
Yeah.
Yep. Scarefest.
Yeah, I love that show.
Yeah, man. So how have you been, Kane? How's everything in your world? And you're working on a ton of films coming up, it looks like, in 2020 and 21. Obviously, when everybody's not in lockdown anymore. How you been?
Really good. I mean, I did 4 films last year and still was able to do 23 conventions somehow.
Wow.
I don't know. That's I'm a whore, I guess. But and there's a lot of projects that are set for us to do, like you said, that just can't start yet. So supposed to be doing one in New Jersey for a couple months, and another one in Spain, and so we'll see what happens with those once people are able to go back to work.
Yeah, it's really tough right now, just having to wait, right? I mean, the whole film industry, the TV world, everything is on just hold. It's crazy.
I know.
I mean, I was lucky enough to be working on a project for a little while, the NGI series that I was working on. I filmed everything, so all I've been doing is sitting here for 2 weeks in my little cubicle just editing. That's all I've been doing.
Is that where, when you sent me a message through Twitter?
Yep.
Originally, before I knew how to fucking use it. And I never saw the message, and that was asking about doing an episode or an investigation or something.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. So Chad actually had a show called Celebrity Badass Ghost Hunting. And I reached out to you a long time ago to be a part of that. So yeah, that would have been with Chad right here.
Oh, right. Did you go to the classic places or
no new places? Some new places. Chad, what were all the locations? We did
we went to Eastern States.
Yeah.
Man. All of them started running together because we literally go out to so many.
Did you go to Waverly again?
Oh, God. We didn't go to Waverly. God.
We didn't go to Waverly. I mean, I lived at Waverly for 3 days. So I lived at Waverly for Paranormal Lockdown when I filmed that.
Right.
When I was living at all the locations. That was amazing. It was the worst idea, though, to sleep in the body chute. I put my cot and sleeping bag in the body chute, sandbagged my cot, right? Because I was scared. I went to sit down on it. You know how you've been in there. You know how it goes straight down. I sit down and I'm like, oh, because I'm the only one in there going to sleep in that place, right? For a couple hours. And I'm like, if my bed just, if the legs give out or anything, I'm sliding down this whole thing and I'm gonna die. It was so scary, and it was tough because I had to sleep upside down with my head going down because I had this whole experiment set up to see if anything happens in there. And I remember before I went in. I forget the lady's name, but she was telling me be careful of the wolf spiders in there and she pulls up her leg. Because they bite you.
Tina, right? Tina?
No, it wasn't Tina. It was somebody else who was working there. Yeah, she was just showing me all these bites on her legs from wolf spiders. And there was a massive one in there, this big, and we just had to smash it. And I slept in there. Yeah,
so what was the result of that one? Anything good?
It was cool. That location has so much built up fear with people, you know what I mean? Just based on these ideas of like all this crazy stuff in the films. And it's a location that holds so much energy of emotion, right? People were brought there to pass away when they had diseases, right? Tuberculosis. So I would wake up there by myself with my other co-hosts, and it was just us. And it was really kind of interesting. I would walk around, I would walk out of the body chute. I would be the only one there, and I'd be walking up to the 4th floor by myself. And I would just feel like, I don't know, sadness. You would feel like people were brought in here, elderly people, and they would lose their life. Yeah. That's kind of how I felt. You know what I mean? I wasn't really scared or terrified or, I don't know. It was just that feeling of, man, I'm in a place where it holds so much memory of people that passed away and lost their lives through a horrible thing. It's kind of like today, right? This virus. People are being brought in to hospitals, and
they should take them to Waverly.
Yeah, seriously. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But we had the privilege to investigate together. I freaking loved it. It was awesome.
That was early on, because I remember, I always talk about, I watched every fucking episode, man, religiously. And I remember that you had brought Kane on. Yeah. And I was like, what season was that?
Season 3? Was it?
Yes.
3 or 4?
Yeah. Fuck, yeah, it was early on.
Hollywood Ghost Hunters.
I forget where it was, Nick.
It was at hold on, it will come to me in a second. It was right there in Hollywood. It was an old Spanish.
Oh, it's right down the street from me.
It is. It literally is right down the street.
It's right downtown.
We shot a whole riot scene where we're all standing there. You and I filmed us walking down the alleyway with all the other guys. What's the name of the place?
It's like
it starts with a P. I'm gonna.
Oh man,
we gotta
I know exactly.
Yeah,
it's downtown Los Angeles.
Yeah,
downtown, not Hollywood.
No, not Hollywood.
Downtown.
It's more downtown.
Yeah. Paseo.
I know what you're talking. Yeah.
It's been years, man. It's 2009, 2010. Johnny, it's like season 3. But it was awesome. So we investigated with you guys, and it was it was funny because the 3 of us matched up what we would be if I was older. And
yeah, that's right.
Was it Pico House?
Yes, Pico House.
Yeah.
That's it. Awesome place.
Yeah.
It was cool. I want to investigate with you again, man. I miss it.
Sure, yeah. Let's go to some place new that nobody's ever done.
I want
even if it doesn't have the the hype with it.
I don't
We
care
should
about
go
that.
out and-
Right.
Yeah, I don't either. And you know, I always wanted to. Do you remember Mike Aloisi? He wrote my book.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and we used to, you know, investigate, and we have an idea for a reality show, but I guess I shouldn't discuss it. Somebody will steal the idea. But somebody listening.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
But you know, as you know, I like to I do serious investigations, but I also like to have fun doing it.
Yeah,
I'm not, you know, overly serious or dramatic. I like to try and people would always advise against this, but I like to try to antagonize the spirits.
Sure.
Instead of kissing their asses. Why does it have to be done with reverence and all this shit? I want to see if I can stir up something, and if they injure me, what a great episode it would be.
Just see Kane thrown across the room. That would be the first. No human can do it. No human can do it, but spirits, woo. Yeah, totally. I would love that, man. I think you're absolutely right. I think I would love to go to a location that is the most terrifying, that nobody wants to enter into, nobody wants to sleep in, nobody wants, like, that's what I'm looking for, is put me in a place like that where others won't go, so I can experience it. And I'm all about that.
And like you, I never find it scary at all unless I'm alone.
Yeah.
And even then, it's not necessarily frightening, but it's a lot easier to deal with when you have people with you. When you're alone, way stranger. Yeah. So I always like to, even when I'm investigating with a group, I like to go off on my own and just see if I can get anything happening.
Yeah, I could totally see us going to a location. I did paranormal lockdown in the UK for 5 months straight, and I went to some epic locations, just rich in history, and I slept in morgues for the night. I've done it all, man.
Any really good stories? Or?
Yeah. No, there was some incredible things that have happened. There's a location called the Hinsdale House that really just flipped me upside down in my head. The energy about it was, digging into the history of the land and stuff like that. It's just rooted in like very mysterious legends, to apparitions, to ghosts, to UFOs, aliens. Man, it's so compelling. Cryptids. I love stuff that is so mysterious, where it's kind of underlining all these layers of just multiple things rather than one thing, because to me that's more compelling. I feel like it's all kind of intertwined together. Yeah. So I'm all about the personal experience, though. Like walking away where I feel shaken a little bit, where it makes me want to understand more, to try to comprehend it, and figure it out. Yeah. Like a detective in a sense, where I need something to push me to that edge just enough where I'm about to fall off, where I'm like, whoa, wait a second. I want to go back and figure this out. That's what I really live for. I love the adrenaline rush, but I love stuff that really gets under my skin to make me think, okay, was this meant to happen? And how can I figure out more about this strange thing that's occurring? I'm very logical too, like yourself. So yeah, I want that balance.
Go to places with you that have never been looked at. Not easy to find, because people research this stuff and try to go. But it would be far more interesting to me to go to someplace new.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything that's happened to you when you've been investigating? Because you seem like you don't get shaken up too easily. Is there something that has really kind of bothered you, like kind of like left you thinking twice?
Not really. I because I'm so often with people that want to experience something so badly that they'll take the smallest occurrence and make it into way more than it ever was. Yeah. And they're not even aware they're doing it. Yeah. So I'm just so careful to make sure that if something happens, it can't be explained, with a scientific explanation or some, you know, I don't even know how to put it, but just it can't be explained in any way with common terms, then I get excited about it if it's like that.
Right. Yeah, because isn't it like, don't you believe, Kane, that like the fear really comes from the brain of human beings, right?
Oh,
like,
for sure.
We build up so much fear, and we create this this kind of ultra world or ultra things happening in our brain at the same time of living in the reality. So we mesh the two together sometimes, you know, and we don't understand the unknown so much, so we fear it at times. So I mean, I'm a big believer in that. I mean, what do you think is your perspective besides all that?
Yeah, but it's just the unknown certainly can be disturbing, but I just want something so undeniably paranormal that there's no other possible reason for it to be happening.
Yeah.
That's when I'll be really excited, and I've yet to have that happen. At this point.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I think, you know, we're all on this interesting like journey of life, and you know, I guess it doesn't matter what your background is or your thoughts, right? We're born into this world, we die, but it's the middle part that's so fascinating to me. You know, what we make of it. And I think that's what's very interesting is we all think about death. We all think about what happens. Even believing nothing happens when you die is believing something happens.
Yeah.
So truly, like, what else is out there? Even when we walk outside and we look up at the stars and we see the universes beyond the universes, wherever that infinity goes and has a stopping point of something, like, what else is out there beyond our point of dying in this body? Do you know what I mean? Because the energy can't be destroyed. So with the energy that we're made up of and the conscious thoughts that we produce in our brain and electricity, like, what do you think happens? Do you have any perspective on that?
Not really. I've never gone into it that deeply. Yeah. Because then your imagination can run away with you, and you know, I like to be more analytical, I guess. And my biggest wish is that during an investigation, I get grabbed or shoved some way that there's no one around me, and I have to say, well, that's a fucking ghost. There's no other possible explanation. I was doing an investigation once with a bunch of people. I think it was at Waverly, and a kind of a strange noise happened. I wasn't in the same room as the people, but I could see them, and something minor happened, and I saw and heard it at the same time they did. And once they started talking to each other, they fed off of each other and built it into so much more than it really was. Yeah. And I don't even think they realized they were doing it. Right. So that's the main reason I like to go by myself, because I can't be influenced with anyone else's opinion about something.
Yeah. It's that group hysteria, man. It's crazy, but it takes over, like you're suggesting. It totally can take over a group like that.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because, you know, you want to have a story, so you're making it a story when it really wasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, here's an idea for you. How about we pick the baddest ass locations, and you go in first on the first day, see what happens by yourself, document it, and then you come out. You don't tell me anything. I go in next, sleep there for the night, see what happens, and then we compare notes.
No, and then the next day I'll go in.
There we go. And then Josh.
No, I just want to fucking shoot it. I don't want to fucking investigate. I'll just shoot it. I'll just be there.
Hell yeah.
You can't have fun.
That's the other thing. I don't even want a camera operator with me.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're just gonna
isolation.
Completely alone.
No, not trying to put somebody out of a job, but for me,
sorry, Josh, you're out, Josh.
Fuck it, it'll be fine.
I'd rather have, GoPros or whatever, and then, because again, even if you have someone with you that's not talking to you, there's a feeling of reassurance.
Yeah,
totally.
Have somebody there. Yeah. But when you're by yourself, man, it's way different. Most people don't even like to do that because it's too fucking creepy.
It's awesome that you bring that up. So years ago, when I first started Ghost Adventures, right? I was in Moundsville Penitentiary. It was one of our first episodes we ever did for Ghost Adventures, besides the documentary. So we're in the location, just the three of us, locked in, right? And I say to the other guys, I say, man, I got an idea. Because I was just like you, Ken. I was like, what happens if I go by myself, not with you guys, just by myself into the sugar shack below? Because that's like the worst part. Everyone was talking, oh, it's crazy. I'm like, let me just go down there for like an hour or so and sit by myself and see what happens. We'll put a static camera up. I'll have my little camera and we'll just, whatever happens. And, if nothing happens, then we'll just cut it out or whatever. And I'm telling you, it was so freaking scary. Because I was like so young back then, it's 2008. I'm freaking young. I'm down there in the sugar shack where people were, all sorts of crazy shit happened that I won't even describe. Yeah. And, murders and whatever and chaos down there. And I'm sitting there and I'm hearing all this shuffling, walking around, weird shit happening. And I knew I was the only one down there. Aaron and Zach were way off somewhere else in the penitentiary, and I watched the raw footage just to make sure they weren't fucking with me. You know what I mean? And I even looked at the raw footage because back then I was editing it. I'm like, nope, they weren't down there. So shit, this is legit. And I'm so smart. I would have heard them coming, trying to get through the doors. I made sure all the doors, because I really wanted to know. You know what I mean? Yeah, at that point, I'm like, fuck it, we're here. We've been filming all night. There's extra footage. If anything happens, I just really wanted to know, man.
Yeah,
and
that's exactly how I approach it. Yeah. I think it'd be cool as hell to do some kind of show like that where one of us, whether it's me first or you first, goes in. But I would, and I don't know, people are gonna. Let me ask you this: if I did make a point of really trying to antagonize spirits, do you think some of the fans would find that disrespectful?
They do. I think there comes a point where you have to. It's like if you're going in and presenting, okay, this is where murderers and killers. And I think it justifies in the sense of like if people are being harmed or witnesses or people that are being attacked or whatever all these story accounts are, and it's in the sense of like these things are happening. Like there's a bully in here. Now Kane's going to go in and confront this bully. I think that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I guess there would have to be certain circumstances where it would work, because if it's the site of a brutal single murder or something, then you're kind of like disrespecting or showing disrespect to the victim. But if it's a place where lots of stuff has happened and it's a certain circumstance, like you said, nobody ever does that.
I know.
Ever tries to piss off the spirits. Right. And can you imagine what an episode it would be if I went in fucking with the spirits and they killed me?
Well, then it would be Friday the 13th part 20 then if that happened. Yeah. It would be fucking throwback.
Think about all the people that would want to go investigate too, like that particular area, like. Oh yeah, it'd be infamous.
Yeah.
Dude, what that brings up a good point. So if that really did happen, here goes my crazy mind. Then what would you do as a spirit to the other human beings living that come in there? Would you pull the old
right?
What would you do, man?
I would fuck with every person that ever came in there. Investigator or not. Yeah. And I would just do whatever came to mind.
Hell yeah.
But I would be an active haunting spirit for sure.
I'd be going in there. Kane, are you here? I can't breathe. Choking me out.
I'll punch you in the chest to let you know I'm here.
It's like, that's him, all right.
Just punch Josh in the nuts.
It'll be fine. Just drop me.
So Johnny Hauser over there, he lives right next to the Axe Murder House, and we had an ongoing series on VidiSpace that was Johnny Hauser verse, and it was just Johnny and the camera. Johnny, talk about that experience, because it's kind of similar that we're talking about it.
And wait, before you go on, is this the Villisca house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So, right off the bat, I wanted to be alone with the same thing you guys are talking about. Mm-hmm. It's like just me and a camera, and boom, let's just see what happens. And I really think that the Axe Murder House feeds off of fear. And I don't care who you are, to walk into that place in pitch dark and go upstairs is just like, oh, this is not a good idea.
Yeah.
And it just seems to compound over and over and over on that. And but the weird thing with the Axe Murder House is I honestly think the Axe Murder House is haunting the Axe Murder House, because I did 20 episodes in that place
by yourself for months.
Yeah. And every single night was almost like a completely different location. What kind of got me thinking about that was I'd watch overnighters. Oh, we had a wonderful interaction with the kids. One of them hugged us. It rolled a ball to me. The very next night, the people were running out of there at 10 o'clock at night, terrified.
Really?
And I'm like, how is this the same? Like, what is happening here?
Hey, can I ask you a question now? Are you currently incarcerated?
No.
Look at the fucking background, man. It's a purple concrete wall. I'm going to haunt you in your cell.
Not currently incarcerated.
Johnny just got out of prison.
He just got out. Yeah.
This is actually the bedroom of Mary Peckham, the lady that found him that next morning, because I'm right next door.
Yeah.
So actually, if I look over my computer, I'm staring at the Axe Murder House right now.
Is that
so?
right?
This was the lady's bedroom that found him that next morning.
Wow.
Anything weird in that room ever?
Oh, fuck.
What's that?
Anything weird happen in that room ever? In the room you're in?
Whenever I investigate the Axe Murder House, it starts happening over here. Like right off the bat, when we moved in, my daughter was 3, starts talking about Hattie this, and on and on. Well, come to find out, she wouldn't sleep upstairs because this was her room. And she said Hattie was mean to her. Now, I was going over the deeds of the houses, and 1912.
Never knowing who Hattie might be. Right?
No idea. And I thought, I just ignored it because I thought, imaginary friend. Then I'm like, Hattie's an old-fashioned name for a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
So Mary Peckham died 6 months after the Axe murders from a nervous breakdown. And in the deed of this house, it says, house went to adult daughter, Hattie Peckham. And so she's 11 now. I have a little boy that's 2. I'm giving him a bath, and he's in the bathtub going, bye, Dad, bye, Grace, like the handful of names he knows. And he goes, bye, Hattie.
Jesus.
Oh, come on.
And I go, what? And he goes, bye, Hattie. And he looked up, and right below us is the bathtub. So he was looking up to this room.
Shit.
And so
pretty interesting.
my daughter texted me. I got a million of these. So Nick, if you want me to shut up, if you need me to shut up for time, just,
no. Kane's in. We're coming there. So,
yes.
That's amazing.
I've never been one location that has all kinds of history. I've never been to it.
And it's an unsolved murder case too, right,
yes,
Johnny?
Still a cold case. Still a cold case.
Wow.
And did you move into that house specifically because it's right there?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I figured.
Absolutely.
How does everyone else feel about that?
Well, my wife hated it, which she's my ex-wife now, so I guess it worked out well.
She's still living though, right?
Yeah, as far as I know.
We're bringing in all our ex-wives there. That's how we're going to do it. Xing them out.
So there was one night my daughter texts me at 3 a.m. She goes, Dad, I'm locked in the bathroom. I'm hearing screaming and crying. I'm like, what? And so I go, and the bathroom door will not open, and I just, boom, all my weight on it, pops open. She is terrified. So I calm her down, we go to bed, and the next day I'm like, So I text the overnighters that were at the Axe house. I'm like, what were you guys doing at this time? And they go, oh, we were in the attic doing a EVP session. So I thought, well, it wasn't them outside. And then they reply with, the whole night was active, except for at that exact time it got really quiet. And I thought, I wonder if whatever's over there came over here. Because Mary Peckham was like a grandma to these kids.
Yeah.
They used to play in this house. Maybe they got scared over there and decided to come over here, and that was the screaming and crying thing. But But I mean, I could go on forever, and I got 15 years of data from investigating the Axe Murder House in my house.
How long have you lived next door?
About close to 15 years, 10, 15 years.
Wow. And nobody lives in the house, right?
No. When I moved here and started working at the Axe Murder House, it was just like, oh, I got to get my hands in this. And no TV show had been here yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I started doing day tours with the idea of I got the keys, I can investigate this place. And then Nick and them came, and the rest is history. Like 40 more shows after that. And, but one of these nights I want to get all of us together and
we're going to do it.
Investigate this house.
Yeah.
And the Axe House simultaneously.
Well, let's all do it. Let's all bring the G crew there and Kane and all of us. We'll leave Kane in the Axe House by himself.
I was going to say, get him in there.
and we'll be in your house, Johnny.
Yeah.
And those murders were in the 60s or something?
1912.
That old?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's really old.
And actually, the minister who confessed to it in 1918 said voices told him to kill Rise Peter Slaney. He ended up across the street, and get this, he goes, a shadow came out of the shed and handed him the axe and said, I am the door. Like I am the door. Like nobody's talking about shadow figures in 1918.
Yeah. No.
I can remember the 80s, they were aliens, then interdimensional time travelers, and now they're who knows what. But he said he went in the house and felt like he was in a dreamlike state, and voices were telling him to slay utterly. He said he killed everyone. Then he said he didn't. And then he said he worked for the Queen of England. So, but that shadow telling him to kill, like that's very Amityville. And that house has a very Amityville quality, including the windows.
Yes.
And how many people were killed again? I can't remember.
8 people.
8?
With an
8
axe.
people with an axe, all in bed. And it's a tiny house.
And nobody heard anything.
You think about the precision that somebody would have to stealthily walk around to do something like that.
Yeah, and no one wakes up too.
And nobody wakes up. Yeah, you can hear a mouse fart.
Axes?
Yeah, dude. You can hear a mouse fart upstairs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Come on. It's crazy.
Yeah, like even the kids, the creaking, the kids sleeping next to each other. One of the creepiest things when I was there, I was able to be upstairs by myself, and the other 2 guys went downstairs, and it was so quiet. And I laid there with my digital recorder, and one of the creepiest EVPs that I ever captured was there. Actually, it said I killed 6 kids, just like that on the recorder. You can see me. We played it in the episode. It's in Ghost Adventures, and you can see you can see me holding the recorder still. You can see it on camera. We play the whole thing out because I'm like, I want to show people that I'm not fudging this. And I think we analyzed it with you, Johnny, afterwards, didn't we?
Yeah, in the back of the barn there for sure.
Yeah, and right off the recorder and everything. Right off the recorder.
Typically, EVPs are my least favorite evidence because it never sounds like what everyone says it sounds like to me.
Yeah,
I think people again inadvertently twist it into something. It'll say, "Oh, shit, you hear that? It said, I'm going to kill you." Well, I'd like to hear that one because I don't remember seeing that episode.
A lot of the EVPs from the Axe House almost sound fake because they're so clear,
So good.
and
right? I know.
So, like, I've got minute-long conversations in the house of a woman with an English accent, and she's talking about getting the coroner. And I got this at 2 in the morning on a Tuesday in February.
Jesus.
Nobody's out in
exactly.
Iowa in February at 2 in the morning,
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just, but of all the locations, like with this location and all the locations I've been to with Nick and I've still never seen a ghost. But the voices that come from that house and the feelings, it's just unmistakable.
And what kind of person did your house exist when the murders happened? The one you're in?
Yeah, this house was here first, and then the Axe House was built afterwards.
And is it in an area that are other homes are around or no?
Yeah. It's at the time no, but now there's other houses around and stuff. But Like, I mean, Villisca, Iowa is not even 1,000 people.
What is it close to? What city?
Omaha, Nebraska is probably the closest.
Oh.
Yep. Probably. What do you say, Josh? Like
hour 15?
Hour 15, yeah.
And what's cool is Josh runs Malvern Manor, which was the cottage motel back in the day. So if the killer actually rode the train and got off the train and killed these people, he stayed at Malvern Manor the night before.
Yeah.
So we got the hookup here in Iowa.
Yeah, right.
Malvern Manor is really creepy too. I lived there for 3 days and Josh forever. And I don't know. It's cool. These locations, I always go back to like what you said, Johnny, you never seen a ghost there. You've been there 15 years or so. But you hear clear voices, something on a different frequency, right? Sound travels. You start to break it down to a science so we can comprehend it in a sense. But some things we just don't have the knowledge yet to figure it out, or the science yet to say it's X, Y, and Z, or the technology or whatever. But I really believe that, energy is a continuous thing, and energy is produced into environments. Like we produce kinetic energy when we move and stuff like that. What happens if it's a bend in time? What happens if these people in the 1920s or occurred there is happening right now, but we're here in the present time, and that energy or that slippage is kind of bleeding through into two separate realities occurring at the same time. I mean, are we hearing those conversations happening? Is that what our recorders are picking up on our end, and the recorders on their, or whatever they're hearing on their end? Like they think we're ghosts, we think they're ghosts.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think essentially we're all ghosts.
Yeah.
We're all dying here, man. Every second we're talking right now, we're passing away. Think about it. It's like,
wow. Thanks for the fucking cheery.
This is what we do, man. We go. I mean, unfortunately, I go down the rabbit hole. I fucking love the rabbit hole. It's like, see ya.
We have to do a 2-hour special of all of us at the Villisca place, and do some kind of twist on it that nobody's ever done. Whether it's me trying to antagonize or some other kind of twist, make it interesting that nobody's done, which is hard to do. Hard to get something, but I know you guys could come up with a different angle. The fact that I believe I have murdered more people on film than any actor in history.
Yeah.
For real.
Oh, show.
Yeah. I don't think there's another actor that has done more murders on camera. So, I mean, certain angles like that, and maybe bringing somebody with us or something. I don't know.
We could, I guess, Johnny, we could portray him as being the killer coming there, and we're inside and see what happens. Didn't people have done that before, right, Johnny? People have like acted.
I got the best story for that whole thing. So I decided let's reenact the murders. And so I get 8 people, and we videotaped all this. It's all documented in a documentary called Haunted Iowa, which I think is on Amazon Prime. Yeah. But 8 people come in, and I'm in the attic with the axe, and I'm just sitting there. They come in randomly. They're talking. They go to the beds, and I creep out. None of this was even planned. They had no idea how this was going to happen. And I go to the parents' bed, and I just hit the axe onto the floor, and they start screaming. It's like, we're kind of giggly. It's like 3 a.m. This is weird, Yeah. I go to the kids' room, and I just was hit instantly with, I shouldn't be doing this. It's like, let's just finish it. We'll never do it again. I'm hitting the floors up there. They're screaming. The 2 in Ina and Lena's room, which was 2 overnight guests downstairs, one of them thinks I'm actually killing the people upstairs. He starts bawling. And it's the funniest videotape ever. Everybody dies laughing when they see this grown man like bawling his eyes out. He sprints out of the house. His friend chases after him. Now the weird part is I'm walking to the staircase to go downstairs. I feel like I'm like half drunk or something, like I'm zoned out.
Right.
And I snap out of it, and I'm standing in front of the doorway downstairs, and I thought I heard a voice. And I'm like, guys, I am done. Let's just finish this. We watched the footage. As I'm walking to the staircase, the closet door opens and shuts. The attic door slams shut. The downstairs door slams open. It shows me standing down in the parlor room for like 5 minutes. And I'm just standing there, and I look up at the IR camera, and I squint. Like, what am I squinting at? We don't see IR. Now, when I thought I heard the voice in the downstairs room, we caught it on 3 recorders, and it goes, "Do it."
Wow.
Like, to actually do it. And that was some Amityville shit I want nothing to do with.
Shit,
like,
man.
That was fetal position in the shower afterwards.
Damn.
And since then, I'm like, nope.
Wow.
I don't remember if the minister claimed any reason that he did it. I don't remember that.
He just said voices told him to do it, and he thought it was God telling him to kill.
Wow.
God telling him to kill. Wow.
Yeah, I think he said something like, "Suffer the children unto me," or something like that, Johnny. Was that correct?
Yeah, he said, voices said, "Suffer the children unto me."
Yeah.
And he said he went past the parents, killed the kids first, claiming the Bible verse that he must be like a child to enter the kingdom of heaven. Evidently, he thought that meant kill kids. Then he said he killed the parents, and then he said he went downstairs to take a nap. Which, what? And then that's when he came upon Ina and Lena, and he said voices said still more work to be done, and said he killed them.
And had he had any previous strange behavior?
Oh yeah, but he was a big peeping Tom pervert.
Right.
Yeah, like that was his thing, was peeking in windows. He wanted to see a woman undress.
Right.
So it's like, how do you go from that to killing 8 people with an axe and eating a meal after you do it?
And
how does he get off too? Like how does he get acquitted from all that stuff back then? I know it's different times, but holy shit,
They
man,
thought he
let
was
all
crazy.
these people go.
They thought he was fucking crackers, man.
Yeah, they thought he was nuts. And then back then, what carried a lot of weight was a minister could never do this. We're talking 1912.
So fucked up religion, right?
Nobody saw him do it, so
No.
But there was so the family came home from church. They walked down the street, that road right there, and they came home from church, right? And supposedly somebody was following them, right? Was there documents of that?
Well, the problem is you got, like, detectives question people for 5 years. 5 years of gossip in a small town with a murder. After 2 years, people are just making up their own motives. And that's where you get the affairs, the politics, I was followed home also. Never proven. No breaking and entering, nothing stolen. Somebody came in there, killed.
You said he was a peeping Tom, but did he have previous criminal history? Being arrested and things like that?
Yeah, the government posed as like an early to catch a predator sting. They posed as little girls writing him letters, and he's like, "I need to paint you naked," like creepy, weird chimo stuff like that.
That's up, man. Yeah, I mean, I guess for a serial killer, a killer, or anybody with a motive like that, they would just have to be a minister back then, and they get away with a lot of shit.
Yeah, and I would bet that the voices were bullshit.
Yeah.
That he made it up, because then it doesn't make him sound so horrible. He was crazy, so he's that old not guilty by reason of insanity bullshit.
Yep.
But then you get the flip side where this dude's 5'2", 120 pounds.
Yeah, he's a small guy.
Like to swing the axe 10 to 15 times on each person.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. I mean, Kane, how is that, swinging the axe that many times? You tell us.
Exhausting, really. Yeah. A lot of times I will use real implements, swinging towards camera or something. Of course, not hitting an actor with a real tool, but sometimes the lead ups, and it's fucking tiring, man.
Yeah.
You know how many takes we have to do sometimes. That's what it's funny when I hear people watching a stunt like in a movie, and I'll hear somebody comment, "Yeah, I think I could have done that," and I'm like, "Well, no." What you don't know is how many fucking times they had to do that.
Right.
And a dangerous stunt, you see it once on the screen. You don't know how many times they may have had to perform that stunt to get it captured correctly.
Yeah, and how many people it took to make that happen.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I was going to ask something else about, what's the guy's name? The minister?
Reverend Kelly, George Lynn Jacqueline Kelly.
Did he have a family?
A wife, no kids. He hated kids.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
What a great guy to be a minister.
And
Shit.
his wife testified that his sexual desires sickened her, which in 1912 is probably lights on. You know?
Howdy.
That is pretty bizarre.
I try to get Johnny to put the lights on every time. But
Every fucking time.
yeah, it's weird. So Kane, going back to like films for a second, how many Friday the 13th, right? You weren't in the first one, but like how many? You were in pretty much every one, right?
Well, anyone like to chime in here? Do you have the knowledge, Johnny? Maybe? No?
I want to take a guess because I don't know what the last
I think
one was.
3 through Jason Takes Manhattan is my guess.
Incorrect.
Jason X.
Well, that was
Jason.
one.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget that one.
So there has been, in effect, 12 Friday the 13th films.
Yeah.
And I did parts 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Yep.
And even still to this day, nobody else that has played Jason has done it in more than one film. So that's kind of cool for me to know that. There's been some other good performances. I think C.J. Graham did a very good job as Jason. You know, we all know each other, but what helps is that I did it 4 times. And, you know, and then you put in the Hatchet movies.
Yep.
And that's another 4 films with multiple murders in each one by various means. And, you know, I played Ed Gein, which I'm sure you've been to his property.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know all about it. Yep.
And BTK, I played him.
Yep.
He didn't really have... Has his house, like, become...
No.
really, right?
No. His family was there. I don't know exactly what happened to it, but yeah, I mean, man, his story. I know all about him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. But I
had read all about all the well-known serial killers just because I was fascinated. Way before I even started doing this kind of stuff.
Right.
I just was fascinated that someone could actually become that person and have such dual personalities that when caught, so many people were like, what? I can't believe it. He was so nice, like Bundy. Perfect example, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, BTK, he was actually in the church community too.
Right.
Before he got caught, and he was, I think, like part of security guard or something like that. In that,
Yep.
yeah, and then he had an ultra life. It's kind of like the Iceman, right? Who worked as a hitman for the mob. I mean, he has, and he basically he had a family. He had this other world going on, and he raised his family. Loved his daughters. You know, very stand up guy. Then he would go off and he would destroy people, and you never know it. Like destroy people.
That is fascinating from a character standpoint, that somebody could have that drastically different personalities that to be able to do something like people like Ed Gein, everybody thought was weird.
Yeah.
Nobody
The nipple belts.
So but yeah, I mean, you know, I'm excited about Villisca now.
Yeah, I know. You're so fascinated.
Come on down.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, we should do that. Seriously. Next time we can figure out when all this isolation kind of lifts. It would be awesome to try to get you out there and get us all together and do something there. I think it would be an awesome
We gotta
episode.
shoot it though. Even if we shoot it with GoPros.
Yeah.
No. I think we
that's the
do
way
it.
to do it.
I have a great idea how we can do it. I think I know what we have to do. It would be awesome, Johnny, to try something different and maybe do like some massive experiment with Kane and
Yeah. Because
could do
this
something
house that I'm in, I haven't even investigated this house. Nobody's touched it. Period.
Yeah.
Wow. It's time. It's time, boys.
It is time.
And do you think it would be good to bring in another horror personality, or then it looks too phony?
No, man. I think it's the way.
I mean, besides
No, because like somebody else besides you.
with us, yeah.
I mean, we can.
Right here.
It's awesome.
Your buddy.
All right. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. He's not big on the paranormal world, really, but
No.
he gets a little nervous. But that might be fun.
Yeah, he's a
And
good dude.
who else else could be fun is, again, Aloisi, who wrote my book, because he is afraid of fucking everything. And you know, we could have fun just seeing how scared he gets. Sorry, Mike, but it's true.
So what was your I always wondered this with you. I never got the opportunity to ask you. What was your favorite scene in a movie that you're like, that was freaking badass? Like a kill scene or something that you had to do and perform and stuff like that. What was your favorite time that you took away from all the stuff that you've done?
The one thing that always comes to mind, I just talked about this the other day on an interview. I've done, I think, 170 films or something, and been doing this for 43 years now.
Wow. And
the one moment that stands out, and it's not a violent moment or anything, is being in the entire costume with the hockey mask on in Times Square.
Dude, yeah.
Because Jason Takes Manhattan was shot in Vancouver, Canada.
Yeah.
And at the end of principal photography, we went to New York for one night of shooting to get those scenes in Times Square. And it was absolutely incredible to see how, you know, this was like, I believe it was a Friday night too.
Right.
Wow.
To see how many people were in Times Square that NYPD had to hold off to the sides so we could shoot our scenes, the radio kick and, you know, coming up out of the subway, which was totally, if you ever watch the movie again, there's a supposedly a subway platform where the guy and the girl come up out of the subway. Mm-hmm. And it's not nothing, it doesn't go down anywhere. It's just a framework on a traffic island in the middle of Times Square, and they squat down, and as they're walking forward, they do this.
Cool.
Stairs.
Yeah.
And you see it when you watch it, knowing that, you can tell they're doing it. But that was just amazing to be. I never, as people have heard, I never took the hockey mask off in between shots the whole night, because I didn't want to destroy the image that people were watching, you know.
That's awesome.
We're standing there, hundreds of people watching us all night, and I didn't think I should ruin their fantasy or whatever by taking the mask off.
That's amazing.
In that movie, you could see my face. I just had a headpiece on, but my face was open, so I never took it off. And
that's so cool.
And it was just, even to this day, is the most amazing day of shooting I've ever had.
I mean, that's like commitment right there, brother. Like doing that, leaving that mask on. And another thing, like with commitment or whatever, when you're playing these other roles, you know, kind of getting back to the psychosis aspect of everything. Like, how do you prepare for a role like that? Like, you're becoming a fucking monster.
It was never that difficult for me. I have said it recently, and I always know that people are going to go, oh my God, when I say it, but I feel like I was born to play Jason.
Yeah, absolutely.
It never felt like much of an effort to perform as the character. And you know, for many years, I used to talk about this too a lot. People at conventions would say, hey, can you do the Jason walk? And I'm like, well, it's just kind of how I walk. That's why it didn't look like acting, because it wasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, at the beginning, people would say, what I love that you do as a character is how you turn your head and then your body when you're changing directions. And the first time somebody said that, I was like, I didn't even know I did that. It was just the character things that I've known for as Jason are things that just felt normal.
Yeah.
To me. So I don't think it ever looks like I'm trying to be scary, because so many people overdo it. Even at conventions, somebody will be dressed as Jason and they'll be forcing it too much.
Yeah.
Say, how do you think I did? And I'm like, well, not great, because you didn't look natural.
Less is more. Less is more.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I love hearing the insight because you really don't know. All we see is what, is in the films or on TV when it airs and stuff. So that's what I'm really, curious about is what it feels like to be in that role, what the process is. It's probably very grueling, especially films. A lot of waiting around, then it's your part, then you play your part, then you do it again. And you've done so much stunt work, man. Right. Like, holy shit. Yeah. Is that first how you got into film or just going way back in your history just so people understand?
Oh, yeah. That's all I ever
is stunt work, right?
My ideal career back then was if I could be a working stunt person that makes a living at it, I'd be very happy.
Yeah.
So I never expected any of the notoriety at all. But once, playing Jason the first time, of course, all that changed. But I just wanted to be a stunt person. I just loved doing shit that most people would never consider doing and getting paid well for it and then watching it on, the screen. I mean, it's very rewarding, especially when you risk your ass doing a stunt, and then when you see it on the screen, it's really good. Other times, it's the opposite. You really bust your ass, and when you see it on the screen, it's like, it doesn't look as good as it really was.
Yeah.
And Nick, do you know how many bones I've broken?
A lot.
Anybody know this?
Like people's bones or your bones?
My bones.
No, I don't. No.
43 years of stunts, and I played sports my whole life and stuff. So the total number of bones I've broken in my life is 0.
Really?
Wow.
Never broken a bone.
Wow.
Sometimes I have gotten up from a stunt thinking, okay, my fucking streak is ended, and I think something's broken, but it never is. So
yeah,
I think it's good genes because I always talk about the fact that my mom, when she was 80, fell down a flight of brick stairs. Jeez. And didn't break a bone. So
wow.
Damn.
Yeah. So I got some good genes helping me through that.
You're a brick house.
Proud of that because a lot of guys just go and do something fucking crazy like Jackass or ridiculousness or whatever, which I enjoy watching, but they don't try to minimize the danger. They just say, fuck it, I don't care if they get hurt and get busted up and they have to recover. But I always was proud that I would do something like that and be able to show up at work the next day,
Yeah. Well, that was your job too. You got to be cautious because once you get hurt, you're out, right? So you had to be cautious. So you're doing dangerous shit. But
not just that you can't work again, but what unfortunately this kind of works in a bad way regarding concussions. But if you get a reputation of getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, you used Kane, in a movie. What happened? I broke his leg. And then you start getting people that are wary of hiring you because you get the image, and it's unfair. But you get the image of a guy that gets hurt. Nobody wants to hire somebody that's going to get hurt on their movie. So because of that, when you should have been going to the hospital because you got a concussion, but you can't afford that because you can't risk being known as that guy that fucking hit his head and had to go to the hospital. So, which is not good. I don't think it's that way anymore, but back then it was a big factor.
Well, yeah, it's like NFL too, right? Similar in that sense. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Man, I love talking to you. I mean, every time we get together and we conversate, I love our paranormal, type of like insight. So we're going to have to get together. Yeah. We're going to have to. Now we know we're all going to sleep there.
Come on, I got plenty of couches.
I've always wanted to go, and that's the only well-known investigative places that I've never been to.
All right, we're bringing you out. Done. Deal. All right. Grace will have to let us come into her house, so you have to let Grace up. Oh, really quick. Kane. Yeah. So Johnny's daughter, Grace.
Yes.
When she was younger, she used her ski mask all the time. She's the coolest little girl like I've ever met.
Wait, a ski mask or a hockey mask?
That's what it was. Yeah.
Leather face mask on the back. And everybody's like, oh, that's Hauser's kid.
Oh, wow. and interesting quick story. Leatherface. I stunt doubled him in Chainsaw 3. So I did a number of scenes as Leatherface. I didn't know that. I kept my Leatherface mask and everything.
Damn.
But that's cool. I had to wear a fat pad because I'm not as girthy as what RA is. And it was funny because, I got fucked over in the Freddy vs. Jason movie. You guys already know that whole story. Yeah. That I thought I was doing it. I was told I was doing it. I was given the script. And then they said no. And I went and saw the movie anyway, which surprised me that I even want to see it. But it was Freddy versus Jason, man. I had to see the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in one of the scenes, I think in the mental hospital or whatever it was, the regular hospital, there's a TV screen that's showing a scene of Leatherface doing something from Chainsaw 3. And it's fucking me. It's not even that particular shot that's on the screen. So I am in Freddy versus Jason.
That's funny.
But not the way I should have been. Yeah. I think I already got paid for that, too. Residuals for it.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, you got to tell Grace I said hello.
Oh, she's going to be over the moon when you tell her that.
Yep.
Ken, you were also in Devil's Reject too, right? Yep. As a because that's Johnny's poster right behind him. It's so funny how I did stunts in. I mean, I was a coordinator and did some stunts in it, but wasn't really on camera. Yeah. But yeah, I know you worked on it. That's awesome, man. Man, it's always a blast talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thank you.
And the next time we will meet, we will be in Johnny's house.
Right
we'll
here.
literally be in Johnny's house.
That sounds good, man. I want to do it. So thank you guys for inviting me on. And good luck with everything, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you, Kane. Take care, man.
Thanks. Bye.
Good talking to you. Bye. All right, guys. Well, it's always amazing talking with Kane. Oh, man.
For real.
Such a good time. Such a good time. I learned so much, too. So much interesting, information I never learned before. And I love talking to him. He's just awesome, dude. Yeah. So had a great time. Really cool. And we're going to have to get him out to the Axe Murder House soon, Johnny. Villisca, here we come.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Cornfields. Yep, we're bringing the real horror movie there. I can't wait. Who knows what we'll discover next there. I'm so excited to come back. I really am. I haven't been there for years, so I'm excited, Johnny.
For sure, we're going to make it happen.
All right, buddy. All right, G Crew.
All right, G's.
Look up into the sky. There's a full moon. Enjoy yourself. Watch a horror movie, maybe Friday the 13th.